A homeless man named Michael lives under a bridge by the Hudson River. He doesn't have much, but he has his honor from his days as a military veteran. One freezing December morning, he hears something that changes everything. A baby's cry coming from the rushing water. Without thinking twice, Michael jumps into the icy river and saves the infant from drowning. What he doesn't know is that the baby's mother is Claire Hamilton, one of New York's most powerful billionaires. When she discovers who saved her child, she makes a decision that will change both their lives forever. Michael gave everything to save her baby, but what could a billionaire possibly give that would truly repay such an incredible act of courage? Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. Dawn breaks over the Hudson River, painting the underside of the George Washington Bridge in shades of amber and rose. Michael Reeves emerges from his makeshift shelter, a weathered tarp stretched between concrete pillars, and reaches for the worn leather journal tucked safely in his waterproof bag. The first page bears a faded inscription, "To Mike, write your story. Love, Sarah." His sister's last gift before cancer took her 5 years ago. The December air bites through his layers of donated coats as he makes his morning rounds. First, stop, the public bathroom at Riverside Park, where he maintains his military discipline with a careful wash using paper towels and hand soap. In the scratched mirror, he trims his grey-streaked beard with a disposable razor, determined to keep some semblance of dignity. "Looking sharp, Captain," calls a familiar voice. It's Tommy, another veteran who sleeps near the basketball courts. They exchange their daily salute, a ritual that reminds them both of who they used to be. Michael pulls out his journal, adding today's entry. Day 1825 on the streets, still standing, still serving, just a different kind of war now. The pages are filled with similar entries, poems about life under the bridge, and sketches of the river that's become both friend and foe. At the local soup kitchen, Michael helps Agnes, the elderly volunteer, set up for breakfast. She slips him an extra coffee, black and strong, just like in his army days. "You're too good for this life, Michael," she says as she does every morning. He smiles, the kind that doesn't quite reach his eyes. "We're all good for something, Agnes. Just got to figure out what." The morning progresses with its familiar rhythm. Michael helps direct newer homeless folks to services, shares his extra socks with a young man whose feet are blistered, and keeps an eye on Mary, an elderly woman who talks to pigeons. His journal records it all, the small acts of kindness that make life under the bridge a community of sorts. Around 10, he settles into his usual spot by the river, pulling out the creased photograph he keeps between the journal's pages. 3 soldiers in desert camo grin at the camera, himself and 2 others, arms around each other's shoulders. The back reads, "Kandahar, 2015, The 3 Musketeers." He's the only one still alive. The journal entry continues, "Thinking about Jones and Martinez today. Would they understand how their captain ended up here? After the explosion, the pills, the nightmares. Maybe they would. They always did understand." A group of joggers passes by, their expensive running shoes and smartwatches a stark contrast to Michael's worn boots. He doesn't begrudge them their success. Much. His journal holds another truth. It's not about what we have, but what we give. "Today I gave directions to a lost tourist. Small thing, but her smile was real. That's worth something." The late morning brings his regular patrol, as he still thinks of it. He walks his stretch of the riverbank, checking on his neighbors, breaking up the occasional argument, and keeping an eye out for anyone in real trouble. The local beat cops know him, respect him even. They've seen him talk down angry drunks and guide lost kids back to their parents. His journal tells these stories too, each entry a testament to a life that still has meaning, even if it's not the meaning he once imagined for himself. Today's final entry reads, "Sometimes I think about Sarah, what she'd say if she could see me now. Still helping others, big brother, maybe. Still fighting the good fight, just without the uniform. The December wind picks up, carrying the promise of snow. Michael tucks his journal away, checking that his shelter is secure against the coming storm. He has no idea that tomorrow morning everything will change, that a baby's cry will pierce the winter air, and his life will take a turn he never could have written in all his journal's pages. For now, he settles into his evening routine, nodding to Tommy as they both prepare for another night under the bridge. His hand brushes the journal in his pocket, touching the only possession that truly matters to him, the record of a life that still has stories to tell. The morning starts like any other, until it doesn't. Michael huddles near his usual spot, the December wind whipping off the Hudson with unusual ferocity. The first snowflakes of the season spiral down, dusting the riverside path with white. That's when he sees it, a flash of pink against the grey river water. At first, he thinks his mind is playing tricks on him, but then he hears it, a cry so faint it's almost lost in the wind, a sound that doesn't belong here, shouldn't be here, a baby's cry. Time slows to a crystalline clarity. The pink thing is a blanket, floating rapidly downstream, and there, wrapped inside it, is a tiny form. Michael doesn't think. 15 years of military training kick in, and he's moving before his conscious mind can catch up. He strips off his outer coat, the heavy one will only drag him down, and dives. The water hits like 1,000 knives. December in the Hudson is just above freezing, and the shock of it drives the air from his lungs. But Michael has trained for worse. He forces his arms to move, his legs to kick. The current is strong today, stronger than he's ever felt it. The pink blanket bobs tantalizingly ahead, sometimes disappearing behind the choppy waves. The baby's cries are getting weaker. Michael pushes harder, each stroke a battle against the numbing cold. His muscles scream in protest, but he's gaining ground. "Hold on, little one!" he gasps between strokes. "Hold on!" He reaches the blanket just as it starts to sink. His fingers close around the sodden fabric, and he pulls. The bundle is surprisingly heavy with water, but he can feel movement inside. The baby is still alive. Getting back to shore is harder. The current fights him every inch of the way, and his strength is fading fast. The cold seeps into his bones, making each movement slower, more difficult. But he keeps going, one arm wrapped tightly around the precious bundle, the other clawing at the water. From the shore, he hears shouting. Tommy's voice rises above the others. "Over here! He's over here!" Hands reach for him as he nears the bank. Tommy and 2 joggers pull him and his tiny cargo onto solid ground. Michael's fingers are too numb to unwrap the blanket, but gentler hands take over. A woman in running gear carefully unfolds the wet pink fabric. The baby girl can't be more than 6 months old. Her lips are blue, but she's breathing. Her eyes flutter open, bright blue eyes that fix on Michael's face for a moment before she starts to cry. It's the most beautiful sound he's ever heard. Sirens wail in the distance, getting closer. Someone has draped a dry coat over Michael's shoulders, but he can't stop shaking. He watches as the jogger woman cradles the baby, trying to warm her. The pink blanket lies discarded on the ground. Its once cheerful pattern of dancing teddy bears, now soaked and muddy. "Man, that was something else," Tommy says, gripping Michael's shoulder. "You just went in like it was nothing. Like Superman, or something." Michael can't answer. His teeth are chattering too hard, and the world is starting to spin. The last thing he sees before losing consciousness is an EMT reaching for the baby and the pink blanket being picked up as evidence. He wakes briefly in the ambulance. Someone is taking his vital signs, wrapping him in warming blankets. Through the fog of exhaustion and hypothermia, he hears snippets of conversation. Temperature dangerously low. Baby's going to be fine. Hero of the hour. Michael wants to ask about the baby, about the pink blanket that caught his eye and changed everything. But darkness claims him again before he can form the words. The last clear thought he has is of his journal, safely sealed in its waterproof bag, back under the bridge. Today's entry will be different from all the others. Today, he did more than just survive. Today, he saved a life. He doesn't know it yet, but that pink blanket will become front-page news. And somewhere in the city, a terrified mother is about to learn that her baby daughter is alive, thanks to a homeless veteran who didn't hesitate to risk everything for a stranger. The Forbes magazine on Claire Hamilton's desk shows her own face staring back. Intense green eyes, sophisticated copper hair, swept into a perfect chignon, hint of a smile that suggests both confidence and carefully guarded secrets. The woman who coded her own empire reads the headline. She hasn't had time to read the article yet. She rarely has time for anything these days. "Ms. Hamilton?" Her assistant's voice crackles through the intercom. "Your 9 a.m. is here, and the nanny called. Emma's doing fine, just wanted you to know." Claire glances at her daughter's photo on the desk. 6 months old, bright blue eyes, and a smile that melts the Ice Queen reputation Claire has cultivated over 15 years of building Hamilton tech from scratch. "Thank you, Jennifer. Send them in." The morning proceeds like a well-oiled machine. Board meetings, product reviews, investor calls. Claire handles each with the precision that's made her famous in tech circles. But every few minutes her eyes drift to Emma's photo. It's been harder than expected, returning to work so soon. But single mothers, even billionaire ones, don't have the luxury of extended maternity leave when they're running a company worth billions. At 11, she has her first break of the day. Claire slips off her Louboutins and walks to the floor-to-ceiling windows of her penthouse office. 60 stories below, New York City spreads out like a digital circuit board, everything connected, everything in its place, just how she likes it. The nanny, Maria, is someone Claire vetted personally. Multiple degrees in child development, impeccable references, and most importantly, a warmth that Claire sometimes fears she herself lacks. Emma needs that warmth, needs someone who can be there consistently, not just between meetings and conference calls. Her phone buzzes. Maria's number. "Is everything okay?" Claire answers on the first ring. The voice on the other end is hysterical. "Ms. Hamilton, I just turned around for a second. The stroller by the river." Claire's world stops spinning. The next few minutes blur into fragments of horror. The brake must have failed. The current was so strong. A man jumped. They're taking her to Presbyterian. The carefully controlled universe Claire has built cracks apart. Her daughter, her Emma, the one thing in her life that isn't calculated, measured, controlled. Security clears the roads. Her driver breaks several traffic laws. Claire sits in the back of the Mercedes, her perfectly manicured nails digging crescents into her palms. She's built her empire by controlling every variable, anticipating every possibility, but she never anticipated this. The hospital corridor feels endless. A nurse tries to stop her, something about authorized personnel only, but backs away from the look in Claire's eyes. And then she's there, in the pediatric emergency unit, and her baby is crying, alive, breathing. "She's perfectly fine, Ms. Hamilton," the doctor is saying. "A mild case of hypothermia, but we've got her temperature back up. Honestly, it's a miracle. If that man hadn't—" "What man?" Claire interrupts. "A homeless veteran, apparently. Dove right in without hesitation. They brought him in too. Severe hypothermia. He's in treatment down the hall." Claire looks at her daughter, pink-cheeked and angry about the medical attention, so perfectly, beautifully alive. Then she looks at the sodden pink blanket, sealed in a hospital bag, as evidence. The blanket her mother had knitted before passing away. The last thing she'd made for her granddaughter. "The man," Claire says, her voice steady despite the trembling in her chest. "I want to know everything about him." A nurse hands her a clipboard with an incident report. Attached is a photo from the EMTs, a man being loaded into an ambulance. Grey-streaked beard, lined face, wearing layers of mismatched clothes. His eyes are closed. Claire Hamilton has built her fortune by seeing patterns, by understanding systems and how to make them work better. Looking at this man's photo, something shifts in her precise, ordered world. A new pattern begins to emerge. She pulls out her phone and dials. "Jennifer, cancel everything. And get me the best private investigators in the city. I need to know who saved my daughter." "Play it again." Claire leans forward in her leather chair, eyes fixed on the wall of screens in her private investigation team's office. The grainy CCTV footage starts over. A perfect winter morning, shattered by a runaway stroller, a flash of pink, a man's decisive movement. The timestamp reads 9:47 a.m. "We've enhanced it as much as possible," says Marcus, her head investigator. "The quality isn't great, but it's enough," Claire interrupts. "Look at his movement, the way he strips his coat before diving. That's military training." Back under the bridge, Michael huddles deeper into his new coat. A donation from the hospital before he checked himself out against medical advice. His old one lies at the bottom of the Hudson, along with any desire for recognition. "You're all over the news, man," Tommy tells him, holding up a paper. "Mystery hero saves billionaire's baby," screams the headline. "This could change everything." Michael just shakes his head. "I didn't do it for attention, but attention is exactly what he's getting." News vans cruise the riverside, reporters interview the locals. Michael retreats further into the shadows, moving his sleeping spot twice in 3 days. His journal entries become shorter. Some things are better left in the river. Claire's investigation moves with the precision of a military operation. She has teams checking VA records, homeless shelter registries, soup kitchen logs. The CCTV footage plays on a loop in her office, each viewing revealing new details. The set of his shoulders, the efficiency of his movements, the way other homeless people defer to him. "He's a leader," she tells her team. "Even without a uniform, he commands respect. Find out why." The media frenzy intensifies. Morning shows run the footage on repeat. Social media explodes with theories and supposed sightings. A dozen men claim to be the hero, but Claire dismisses them all. None match the quiet dignity she saw in those grainy images. Under the bridge, Michael's community closes ranks around him. Agnes stops talking to reporters. Tommy redirects curious onlookers. Even the local cops, who know exactly who they're looking for, keep their silence. "You can't hide forever," Tommy tells him one evening. "Lady like that with her resources. She'll find you eventually." Michael pulls out his journal, adding a new entry. "Some debts don't need repaying. Some thanks are better left unsaid." But Claire Hamilton didn't build an empire by accepting defeat. She studies the footage late into the night. Emma sleeping peacefully in a bassinet beside her desk. Something about the way the man moves, the way he scans the riverbank before diving. It triggers a memory. "Jennifer," she calls to her assistant, "get me the military attaché who consulted on our Pentagon contracts, the one who served in Afghanistan." The pieces start falling into place. The timing of the dive, the tactical assessment visible even in the grainy footage, the way he protected the baby's head as he fought the current. This wasn't just military training. This was special forces. In his hideout, Michael feels the net tightening. More cameras appear along the riverside. Well-dressed men and women in dark SUVs cruise the streets, showing his hospital photo. His world shrinks to nighttime movements and careful scavenging. "You're being stupid," Agnes tells him when he sneaks into the soup kitchen after hours. "That woman just wants to thank you." "Thank yous change things," Michael writes in his journal that night. Change isn't always better. But even as he writes those words, Claire is watching the enhanced footage one final time. Her tech team has isolated a reflection in a window, caught the split-second image of a leather journal in his back pocket before the dive. "Find that journal," she tells Marcus. "Find it, and we find him." The hunt narrows, the circle tightens, and somewhere between the billionaire in her tower and the hero in his shadows, destiny draws two worlds inevitably closer, like the current that brought them together in the first place. Headlines pile up on Claire's desk like fallen autumn leaves. guardian angel of the Hudson. Who is the homeless hero? Billionaire's baby saved by mysterious veteran. Hamilton Tech CEO offers reward for hero's identity. She's read them all so many times the words blur together. Each article speculates, theorizes, romanticizes. None gets it right. None captures the raw courage she saw in that CCTV footage, the split-second decision that saved her daughter's life. 6 blocks away, Michael sits in the public library, his own stack of newspapers spread before him. He's not reading the headlines about himself, but the job listings in the back pages. His fingers, still tender from the freezing water, trace down the columns. Security guard, night watchman, warehouse worker. You could have any job you want now, Tommy had said earlier. That reward money's up to 50 grand. But Michael doesn't want rewards. He wants normal, wants the media trucks to leave the riverside, wants to stop sleeping in different spots every night to avoid being found. Claire's morning starts with a video conference, her first public appearance since the incident. Business networks anxiously await any mention of the rescue, but she sticks to quarterly projections and market expansions. Only a slight tremor in her hand as she reaches for her water glass betrays her distraction. Ms. Hamilton, a reporter, interrupts during the Q&A. Any updates on the search for your daughter's rescuer? The screen shows her perfect pause, her measured response. We're following several promising leads. Next question. In reality, she's following just one lead. The Journal. Her team has interviewed every street vendor, every coffee cart operator near the bridge. Someone must have seen him writing in it. Michael's day unfolds in careful routines. He visits different soup kitchens now, varies his timing. The Journal stays hidden in a new spot, a loose brick in an abandoned building 2 blocks from his usual haunts. He only retrieves it at night to write, "The papers make me sound like some kind of saint. They don't understand. Anyone would have jumped in. The only difference is I had nothing to lose." Claire ends her workday early, something she never did before the incident. She sits in Emma's nursery, watching her daughter sleep. The pink blanket, cleaned and dried, lies folded in the crib. Sometimes she unfolds it, studying the water stains like a map of that terrible morning. "Your board is concerned," her CFO had told her today. "This fixation with finding the homeless man, it's affecting market confidence." But Claire sees patterns where others see obsession. She's built her fortune by understanding how things connect, how systems work. This man, this rescue, it's part of a bigger pattern she's just beginning to understand. In the library, Michael reads about Claire Hamilton's rise to power. Orphaned at 16, college at 18, first million at 22. Built her company from a dorm room startup to a tech empire. Single mother by choice, known as the Ice Queen of Silicon Alley. "She's not what they say," Agnes tells him during his late-night soup kitchen visit. "I saw her yesterday down at the shelter. She was asking questions, yes, but she was also listening, really listening." The headlines keep coming. Hamilton Tech announces veteran housing initiative. Tech billionaire funds homeless outreach programs. Mystery hero inspires wave of charitable giving. 2 worlds, spinning closer by the day. Claire in her penthouse. Office, studying surveillance footage late into the night. Michael in his hidden corners, writing in his journal by streetlight. Both haunted by a moment that lasted less than 5 minutes, but changed everything. "Found something," Marcus texts Claire at midnight. Vendor remembers the journal, says it had a name inside, Sarah. In his latest hiding spot, Michael writes one last entry for the day. "Sarah, you always said everything happens for a reason. But some reasons take longer to understand than others. The city sleeps between them, a maze of possibilities and connections. Tomorrow will bring new headlines, new searches, new attempts to bridge the gap between their worlds. But for now, they each hold their treasures close. A pink blanket, a leather journal, tokens of a moment when all the walls between their worlds dissolved in the Hudson's cold waters. The hospital bracelet scratches against Michael's wrist as he sits in the emergency room waiting area. He hadn't planned on coming back here, but the winter cold finally caught up with him. 3 days of fever and chills, aftermath of his river rescue, forced his hand. "Mr. Reeves!" The nurse calls his name just as he spots the suits entering. The ER. Dark clothes, efficient movements, earpieces. He recognizes a tactical team when he sees one. Too late to run. "Found you," says a quiet voice behind him. He turns slowly. Claire Hamilton stands there, shorter in person than she appears in photos, but with the same intensity he's seen in newspaper pictures. She's dressed casually, expensive casual, but casual nonetheless, and holds a sleeping Emma against her shoulder. "You're alive because of him," she whispers to her daughter, then looks at Michael. "And you're sick because of us." Michael tugs at the hospital bracelet. "It's just a cold. Pneumonia, actually," says a doctor approaching with a chart. "Mr. Reeves, you should have come in days ago. Your oxygen levels—" She stops, noticing Claire. "Ms. Hamilton, I didn't realize—" "Please," Claire interrupts, "continue treating your patient. I can wait." But she doesn't wait. She follows as they take Michael to an examination room, her security team creating a bubble of privacy around them. The doctor rattles off terms: bacterial pneumonia, decreased lung function, probable hospital admission. "I can't afford—" Michael starts. "Yes, you can," Claire says simply. He looks at her then, really looks. No makeup, hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Dark circles under her eyes suggest sleepless nights. Emma stirs against her shoulder, and suddenly he's back in the river, reaching for that pink blanket. "Why did you run?" she asks. Michael touches the hospital bracelet again, reading his own name printed there. Michael James Reeves, a name that hasn't appeared on official documents since he left the VA system 3 years ago. "Because this isn't a fairy tale," he says finally. "You don't owe me anything. I owe you everything." Her voice catches. Emma whimpers in her sleep, and Claire soothes her automatically. "Do you know what it's like to watch your child in danger and be helpless to save her? Do you know what it's like to save someone and still feel helpless?" The question hangs between them. Outside the exam room, reporters are probably already gathering. 2 worlds colliding in a hospital emergency room. "Your sister," Claire says, softly. "Sarah, she died of cancer 5 years ago." Michael stiffens. "You've done your research. I find what matters to me." She shifts Emma gently. "Family matters, courage matters, the truth matters." The doctor returns with admission papers. Claire steps back, but her presence fills the room. Michael signs the forms with a shaking hand. The hospital bracelet, a plastic reminder of his new visibility. "I'm not a story," he tells her. "I'm not your redemption project." "No," she agrees. "You're the man who jumped into a freezing river to save my baby. Everything else is just details." She reaches into her bag, pulls out his journal. "This was in the brick wall on Canal Street. I thought you might want it back." Michael takes it, feels the familiar leather under his fingers. "How did you—" "I understand patterns. And the pattern here, it's not about wealth or status or media stories. It's about 2 people who would do anything to protect what matters." Emma wakes then, her blue eyes finding Michael's face. She smiles, the pure, uncomplicated smile of an infant who doesn't understand class divisions or social barriers. "Stay," Claire says. "Let us help you. Not because we owe you, but because it's the right thing to do." Michael looks at the hospital bracelet, his name stark against the white plastic. After years of invisibility, he's been found. The question is, does he want to stay found? Emma reaches out one tiny hand toward him, and in that gesture he sees Sarah's last words in his journal. "Don't let the world make you invisible, big brother. Your story matters too." The keys feel foreign in Michael's hand, heavy, bright, new. 3 of them on a simple ring: front door, apartment, mailbox. Normal things, everyday things that haven't been part of his world for years. "It's a quiet building," Claire explains as they ride the elevator to the 5th floor. Private, secure. The press won't bother you here. Michael says nothing. After 3 days in the hospital, he's still weak. But it's not just physical exhaustion weighing him down. Every step away from his old life feels like betrayal. Our friends can visit, Claire adds, reading his silence. Agnes, Tommy, they're welcome. I'm not trying to cut you off from your community. The apartment door opens to hardwood floors and tall windows. Simple furniture, nothing flashy. A small desk holds a laptop, new, still in its box. The kitchen is stocked. The closet contains clothes in his size. You thought of everything, he says, his voice rough. I understand systems, Claire responds. And support systems are crucial for transitions like this. But it's not the furniture or the clothes or even the laptop that stops him in his tracks. It's the wall opposite the bed, empty except for a single frame. Inside is a familiar photo. 3 soldiers in desert camo, arms around each other's shoulders. His unit, his brothers. How did you... Military records. And some help from your old commanding officer. He's worried about you, by the way. Michael turns the keys over in his hand. This is too much. It's not charity, Claire says firmly. It's an investment. In 6 months, if you want to leave, walk away. These keys are yours, no strings. But I'm betting you'll find a reason to stay. As if on cue, Emma fusses in her baby carrier. Claire lifts her out, and the infant immediately reaches for Michael, remembering him from the hospital. She knows her hero, Claire says softly. I'm no hero. Michael sets the keys on the counter. Heroes don't end up under bridges. No, tell that to Tommy. He told me how you've saved 3 people from overdosing this year alone. Or Agnes. She mentioned the nights you've spent talking veterans back from the edge. Michael moves to the window. 5 stories below, the city continues its eternal rush. Somewhere out there, his old spot under the bridge is probably already occupied by someone else. Your sister's cancer treatment, Claire continues. You spent everything you had trying to save her. The PTSD, the pills, the downward spiral. It wasn't weakness, Michael. It was humanity. He turns to face her. You really did do your research. I told you, I find what matters. She hands him a folder. Which is why I have a proposal for you. Inside are papers for a new foundation. The Second Chance Veterans Initiative, a program to help homeless veterans rebuild their lives with Michael as the director. You understand their needs, Claire explains. You've lived it with Hamilton, Tech's resources and your experience. Stop. Michael picks up the keys again, feels their weight. Just stop. Please. Claire falls silent. Emma squirms in her arms, reaching again for Michael. Without thinking, he takes her, and she settles against his chest, like she belongs there. One step at a time, he says finally. These keys, they're enough for now. More than enough. Claire nods, understanding. 6 months, no pressure, no media, just a chance to remember who you were before the bridge. Michael looks at the keys glinting in the afternoon light. House keys, such a simple thing, such a huge thing. The foundation proposal will be here when you're ready, Claire adds, gathering her things. Along with any other opportunities you want to explore. At the door, she pauses. Oh, and Michael, thank you. Not just for saving Emma, but for letting us find you. After she leaves, Michael sits by the window. Emma's warm weight still a ghost sensation against his chest. The keys sit on the windowsill, catching the light. In his journal, he writes, Sarah, I have keys again. Real keys to a real door. I don't know if I deserve them, but I'm starting to think maybe that's not the point. Outside, the city sparkles with possibility, and somewhere in her tower of glass and steel, a billionaire is rewriting her own story about what really matters in life. The suit hangs on the back of Michael's bedroom door like a question mark. Navy blue wool, crisp white shirt, leather shoes that cost more than 6 months of VA benefits. A gift from Claire's personal shopper for when you're ready. He's been in the apartment for 2 weeks now. The keys no longer feel strange in his hand, but other things still do. The softness of the bed, the constant quiet, the reliable hot water, the reflection in the mirror, clean-shaven, hair-trimmed, clothes that fit. Tommy visits often, whistling at the change. "Looking sharp, Captain, but you still ain't worn that suit." Michael touches the sleeve. "Haven't had a reason. What about dinner tonight? Lady Hamilton's invited you 3 times now." It's true. Claire's invitations have been casual, careful. Dinner with her and Emma. No pressure, no media, no agenda. Just food and conversation. He's declined each time. The journal sits open on his desk, next to the untouched laptop. Today's entry reads, "The hardest part isn't learning the new things. It's unlearning the old ones, like how to disappear, how to expect nothing, how to stay numb." His phone buzzes. Another new thing. A simple smartphone Claire insisted on. "For emergencies." Her text reads, "Emma misses her hero. Thai food tonight, just us." Before he can respond, another text. "She's trying solid foods now. You should see the mess. Might make you feel better about your own adjustment period." Michael finds himself smiling. Over the past 2 weeks, Claire has revealed a subtle humor he never expected from her media persona. Her texts are warm, sometimes. Funny, always careful not to push too hard. He looks at the suit again. Agnes's words from yesterday echo in his mind. "Pride's good, but don't let it wall you off from joy." His fingers hover over the phone's keyboard. The old instinct says, "Run to hide, stay invisible." But Emma's smile flashes in his memory, and Claire's quiet understanding of his boundaries, and the way neither of them look at him with pity. "What time?" he texts back. Her response is immediate. "7 Sue, car will pick you up. Casual clothes." Fine. Unless he can almost see her smile as she leaves that thought unfinished. The suit feels different than he expected. Not like armor, not like a costume, like possibility. In the mirror, he sees echoes of his former self, the captain, the brother, the man who knew his place in the world. The doorman tips his hat as Michael exits the building. "Looking good, Mr. Reeves." The car is understated, the driver discreet. As they cross the city, Michael watches his 2 worlds blur together through the window. They pass the soup kitchen, where Agnes still serves hope with every meal, the riverside where he used to sleep, the spot where he dove in after a pink blanket. Claire's penthouse is a surprise. He expected cold minimalism, but the space is warm, lived in. Baby toys share space with tech prototypes. Family photos hang alongside industry awards. "Sorry for the mess," Claire calls from the kitchen. Emma's, discovering the laws of gravity with her sweet potatoes. The baby squeals at the sight of him, orange mush covering her face and bib. Without thinking, Michael goes to her, and she reaches up with sticky hands. "She ruins everyone's clothes equally," Claire warns, but she's smiling. "Good thing I kept the tags on this suit," he jokes, and surprises himself by meaning it. Over dinner they talk, really talk, about Sarah's battle with cancer, about Claire's early days coding in her dorm room, about the nightmares that still wake him sometimes, about her fears as a single mother. "Why me?" he asks finally. "Beyond the rescue, why all this?" Claire wipes sweet potato from Emma's chin. "Because you saw someone who needed help, and you acted. No calculations, no cost-benefit analysis, just pure human response. My whole life is about calculations. I needed to understand that kind of clarity." After dinner, as the car takes him home and his apartment is starting to feel like home, Michael writes in his journal, "Wore the suit today. Didn't change who I am." Maybe that's the point. Change isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were and finding who you could be. The city lights blur past his window, and for the first time in years, the future looks less like a threat and more like a promise. The box arrives on a Tuesday morning. Plain cardboard, military shipping labels, signed for by Michael's doorman. Inside, wrapped in brown paper, lies a wooden case he hasn't seen in 5 years. His hands shake as he opens it. The medals catch. The morning light, Silver star, bronze star, purple heart. Beneath them, carefully preserved photographs, mission reports, letters of commendation, his life before the bridge, preserved in military precision. "Your CO sent them," Claire says, from the doorway. He didn't hear her knock. "I hope you don't mind, I asked him to." Michael traces the silver star's edges. "How much do you know?" "Kandahar, 2015. Your unit was ambushed. You got everyone out." "Not everyone." The names burn in his memory. Jones, Martinez. "But 15 others lived. Because of you." He closes. "The case. That man doesn't exist anymore, doesn't he?" Claire steps into the apartment, Emma dozing against her shoulder. "The man who jumped into a freezing river without hesitation. That's the same man who ran into enemy fire to save his unit." Michael moves to the window, his usual refuge, but Claire doesn't let him retreat. "I lost people too," she says quietly. "Different war. Same scars." He turns. "She's never volunteered personal information before." "My parents," she continues. "Car accident when I was 16. The company was about to go public, Dad's biggest achievement. Mom had just beaten breast cancer. Then one rainy night, one drunk driver..." Emma stirs, and Claire soothes her automatically. "You know what the hardest part was? Everyone called me brave, strong, resilient, the orphan who built an empire. They made it sound like a victory, when it felt like survival." Michael finishes. "Exactly." She meets his eyes. "That's why I understand, Michael. Why I push to find you. I recognize that look in your eyes in the security footage. The look that says, I've lost everything that matters, so why not jump?" Michael opens the medal case again. Hidden beneath the medals, he finds something unexpected. A folded piece of paper. Sarah's last letter, which he thought was lost forever. "How did this?" "Your CO found it with your discharge papers. He thought you should have it back." Michael unfolds the letter carefully. Sarah's handwriting, weak but determined. "Remember who you are, big brother. Not the medals, not the missions, the heart that earned them." "She was right, you know," Claire says softly. "The medals aren't who you are. They're proof of who you've always been." Emma wakes fully now, reaching for Michael with practiced familiarity. He takes her, breathes in her baby scent of powder and innocence. "The foundation proposal," he says. "And finally, is it still open?" "It was never closed." Claire touches one of the medals gently. "But I don't want you to think this is why. The medals, the commendations, they're part of your story, not the reason for my offer." "Then why?" "Because every time Emma sees you, she smiles. Because you still check the riverside every day to make sure your friends are okay. Because you have that letter memorized but needed to see it again to believe it." Michael looks at the medals, at Emma, at Claire. "I'm not fixed. The nightmares, the anxiety, they don't go away just because I have an apartment and a suit. Good thing I'm not looking for fixed. I'm looking for real." She takes a business card from her pocket, places it on top of the medal case. "The Foundation's first board meeting is next week. No pressure, but Emma will be there?" he asks, managing a small smile. "She's the chairperson, obviously, very strict about attendance." After they leave, Michael sits with the medal case open on his desk. In his journal he writes, "Sarah, you told me to remember who I am. Today, I'm starting to think that who I am didn't get lost under that bridge. Maybe he was just waiting for the right moment to swim back up." The silver star catches the afternoon light, no longer a reminder of what he lost, but a piece of who he's always been. The proposal sits between them on Claire's mahogany conference table. 20 pages of Michael's handwritten notes transformed into professional slides and spreadsheets. His vision for the foundation, rendered in corporate language that feels foreign to his ears. "It's not what we discussed," Claire says, paging through the document. "It's better." Michael stands at the window, more comfortable in his suit now, but still restless. "Your original plan was about housing. This is about purpose. Housing is fundamental. Housing without meaning is just another form of prison." He turns to face the board members, all carefully neutral expressions and expensive suits. I lived it. We all did. My friends under the bridge, they've been through a dozen programs. Housing first, job training first, therapy first. None of. It sticks because none of it addresses the real problem. Emma fusses in her playpen in the corner. Claire automatically moves to soothe her, but Michael gets there first. The baby settles against his chest, and he draws strength from her simple trust. What we need, he continues, is a program that gives veterans their identity back first. Not just a roof, not just a job, their sense of mission, sense of... He nods to the presentation screen, where his proposal outlines a different approach. Veterans helping veterans, peer support, community service projects, training that builds on military skills rather than trying to erase them. The housing, the jobs, the therapy, they all come later, he explains. But first, we give them back their purpose. Claire studies him over her reading glasses. It's more expensive than our original plan. More complicated, higher risk, like jumping into a river after a baby, a ripple of uncomfortable laughter around the table. Claire's eyes narrow slightly. Their first real clash of wills. This isn't about that day, she says. It's exactly about that day. Michael shifts Emma gently. I jumped because I still knew who I was. Under everything, I was still a soldier. Still someone who acts. That's what saved Emma. That's what saved me. He hands the baby back to Claire, pulls out his journal, now a constant companion in board meetings. May I? At Claire's nod, he reads, Today, Tommy helped break up a fight at the shelter. Former MP, been homeless 3 years, but the moment he was needed, his training kicked in. First time I've seen him smile in months. He turns a page. Agnes has Mary teaching art at the soup kitchen now, former combat photographer. Her hands shake. Too much to shoot anymore, but she can still show kids how to see beauty in chaos. Claire's expression softens slightly. The board members lean forward. Every veteran has a skill, an identity, a purpose that never really goes away, Michael continues. We just forget how to use it. Your original plan would give them houses. Mine will give them missions. And if they fail, one board member asks, then we'll be there to catch them, like a battle buddy, like a unit. Michael meets each person's eyes. But they won't fail. Because this time, they're fighting for themselves. Silence falls. Claire rocks Emma gently, studying the proposal again. Michael can almost see the calculations running behind her eyes. Risk versus reward, cost versus benefit, heart versus head. Finally, she looks up. It goes against every business principle I know. Good thing this isn't about business. Their eyes lock. In that moment, Michael sees something shift in Claire's expression. The CEO facade cracking, revealing the woman who understands loss and redemption. Double the budget, she says suddenly. If we're doing this, we're doing it right. The board erupts in protests and questions. Claire silences them with a raised hand. Michael's right. We're not just building houses, we're rebuilding lives. She hands Emma to him, a gesture of trust that speaks louder than words. Sometimes, the riskiest investment yields the greatest return. Later in his journal, Michael writes, Sarah, remember how you used to say, I was too stubborn for my own good? Today, that stubbornness helped win a battle. A different kind of battle, but just as important. Because sometimes the hardest fights aren't about survival. They're about finding a way to truly live again. The Foundation's incorporation papers cover Claire's desk, legal language spelling out their shared dream in binding clauses and official terms. The Second Chance Veterans Initiative, written in bold at the top, with both their names listed as co-founders. Sign here, the lawyer says, indicating a yellow tab, and here and initial here. Michael pauses, pen hovering over the paper. Once this goes through, there's no turning back. Claire looks up from where she's sitting on the floor with Emma, who's practicing her crawling, having second thoughts. No, just... He signs his name. Never thought I'd be on this side of the help. The lawyer gathers the papers, leaving them with copies. As the door closes, Claire stands lifting Emma. "Come on, I want to show you something." They take the elevator to the garage, where her driver waits with the car. The city passes in a blur of early spring sunshine as they head toward the river. But instead of stopping at Michael's old haunts, they continue north into an industrial area being reclaimed by development. "First acquisition for the foundation," Claire explains as they pull up to a sprawling warehouse. "Good bones, according to the surveyor. Tons of potential." Inside, sunlight streams through high windows. The space echoes with possibility. "Main floor can be the community center," Michael says, already seeing it. "Training rooms, counseling spaces, common areas, mezzanine for classrooms and offices. And this," Claire leads him to a corner space with its own entrance. "Perfect. For a veteran-run coffee shop, first business initiative." Michael turns to her, surprised. "You remembered." "The best conversations happen over coffee," she quotes from his proposal. "A place where veterans can work, connect, feel normal again." Emma squirms to be put down, and they watch her crawl across the smooth concrete. "She's getting fast," Michael observes. "Too fast." Claire scoops her up before she can reach a dusty corner. Everything's moving so fast. There's something in her voice that makes Michael look closer. "Having doubts yourself?" "Not about the foundation," she bounces Emma gently. "About other things? Like how to be both a CEO and a mother, how to build something meaningful while keeping Emma safe, how to trust again after losing everyone She stops, shakes her head. "Sorry, this isn't—" "Hey." Michael steps closer, takes Emma so Claire can wipe her eyes. "Trust goes both ways, remember?" Claire laughs softly. "Is that in the incorporation papers?" "Between the lines." He lets Emma grab his finger. "You know what I learned under the bridge? Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who admit they're not strong all the time." She meets his eyes. Something unspoken passes between them, warm and tentative as the spring sunshine through the warehouse windows. "The board thinks we're crazy," she says finally, "letting formerly homeless veterans run a business, putting your experience ahead of professional expertise." "We are crazy," Michael grins. "Crazy enough to think love and trust are better business models than fear and control." "Love and trust?" Claire raises an eyebrow. "That's not in the business plan." "Check paragraph 3, subsection A." He hands Emma back, their hands brushing. "Right after the part about two people from different worlds finding out they're not so different after all." The moment stretches, full of possibilities neither of them is ready to name. Emma breaks it by grabbing Claire's necklace. "We should get back," Claire says, but she doesn't move. "Papers to file, contractors to meet. Or we could get coffee." Michael nods toward a diner across the street. "Test our business model." Claire checks her phone, then puts it away. "You know what? The papers can wait." In the diner's window, their reflection shows a picture no one would have believed possible months ago. A billionaire, a formerly homeless veteran, and a baby who brought them together, sharing coffee and trust and something that feels like a beginning. Later, Michael adds the foundation documents to his journal, writing beside them, "Sarah, remember when you said every ending is just a new beginning in disguise? Today I signed papers that made it official, but the real trust, the real foundation, that's being built one coffee, one conversation, one shared dream at a time. Fairy tale or fortune hunting? Homeless heroes, real motives questioned. Hamilton tech stocks slip as CEO's relationship raises eyebrows. From bridge to boardroom, the romance nobody saw coming. The tabloid headlines scream from every newsstand. Michael turns away from the cafe window, but the damage is done. The morning peace is broken. "Don't let them get to you," Tommy says from across the table. They're at the foundation's newly opened coffee shop, which Tommy now manages. "People love to talk. It's not me I'm worried about." Michael watches Claire through the window as she approaches the cafe, navigating through paparazzi with practiced grace. Emma is with her nanny today. They've learned to keep her away from the cameras. The bell chimes as Claire enters. Her Smile doesn't quite hide the strain around her eyes. "Board meeting's been moved up," she says, sliding into the booth. "Apparently our stock price is cause for concern." "Because of me?" Michael states flatly. "Because people can't mind their own business." She orders her usual, black coffee, no sugar. Her hand shakes slightly as she lifts the cup. Tommy excuses himself, leaving them alone with the elephant in the room. Through the window, cameras flash. "Maybe we should cool things off," Michael suggests. "Give the foundation time to establish itself without complications." "Complications?" Claire's voice is sharp. "Is that what this is? You know what I mean. Your board members are calling me a gold digger. Your investors are nervous. Your competitors are using this to undermine you. Since when do you care what billionaires think? Since one of them trusted me enough to build something meaningful." He pulls out his journal, shows her the latest headlines he's pasted inside. "I won't let them use me to destroy what you've built." Claire reaches across the table, takes his hand. More camera flashes. "You're not destroying anything," she says, firmly. "The foundation is exceeding projections. The coffee shop is profitable. Our veteran employment program has a 90% success rate. But your stock price will recover." "It always does." She squeezes his hand. "What doesn't?" "Recover is time lost to fear." The cafe door opens again. Agnes enters, ignoring the photographers. "You two seen this garbage?" She throws a tabloid on the table. The headline reads, "Sources reveal homeless hero's dark past." Michael tenses, but Claire just laughs. "Let me guess. They found out about Kandahar? The Silver Star? The 15 lives you saved?" She turns to Agnes. "Did they mention he gave up everything to pay for his sister's cancer treatment?" Agnes grins. "Actually, they're suggesting he's a secret Russian spy." The absurdity breaks the tension. Even Michael manages a smile. "The thing is," Claire continues, serious again, "they're right about one thing. This is a fairy tale, but not the kind they think." "What kind is it?" Michael asks softly. "The kind where two people who've lost everything find something real. Where a baby's cry in a river changes not just one life, but hundreds through our foundation." She meets his eyes. "The kind worth fighting for." Her phone buzzes. The board meeting. As she stands, Michael catches her arm. "Claire, I don't want to be the reason." "You're not a reason," she interrupts. "You're a choice, my choice, and I've made harder choices building my company than choosing to stand by someone I—" She stops, not quite ready for that word. Michael understands. Some things need time, need trust, need the slow blooming of certainty. After she leaves, he writes in his journal, "Sarah, the papers call this a fairy tale. They're looking for a villain, an angle, a scandal, but they don't understand. Real fairy tales aren't about magic. They're about finding courage when the world tells you to be afraid, about choosing trust when fear would be easier." Through the window, he watches Claire navigate the media gauntlet to her waiting car. Head high, step sure, every inch the CEO. But he sees what the cameras miss. The small smile playing at her lips, the same smile Emma gets when she's absolutely certain about something. Maybe, he thinks, that's the real headline. Two people too stubborn to let the world tell them what's possible. The 5-year sobriety chip feels heavy in Michael's pocket as he paces Claire's penthouse balcony. Inside, Emma sleeps peacefully in her crib, unaware of the tension in the air. "You should have told me," Claire says quietly. She's still holding the pill bottle they found in Tommy's locker at the coffee shop, OxyContin, the same drug that started Michael's own downward spiral after Sarah's death. "I thought I could handle it, help him through it quietly." "Like you handled it yourself?" Her voice isn't accusing, but the words sting. Michael pulls out the AA chip, lets it catch the evening light. 5 years, 3 months, 12 days. After I lost everything. After Sarah. He meets Claire's eyes. Tommy's not there yet. He needs time. What he needs is professional help. We have programs, protocols, Protocols won't help him tonight when the cravings hit, when the memories won't stop. Michael's hand tightens around the chip. He needs someone who understands. And if he relapses, if something happens at the coffee shop, the Foundation's reputation. To hell with the reputation. The words explode out before he can stop them. Emma stirs in her crib but doesn't. Wake! Claire steps back, surprise and hurt flashing across her face. In 5 months of working together, he's never raised his voice. I'm sorry, he says immediately, but this isn't about protocols or reputations. This is about a man drowning just like I was. And what if he pulls you under with him? The real fear in her voice stops him. He looks at her, really looks, sees the tension in her shoulders, the way her hands won't stay still. Is that what this is about? He asks softly. You're afraid I'll relapse? She turns away, moves to Emma's crib. I've lost everyone I've ever loved. My parents, my first business partner. Even Emma's father walked away when I told him I was keeping her. Her voice catches. I can't watch someone else I care about disappear. The word love hangs unspoken between them, too fragile yet for direct light. Michael steps closer, takes her hand, places the AA chip in her palm. Feel that? 5 years of choices, 5 years of fighting, 5 years of choosing to live. He closes her fingers around it. I'm not disappearing, but I won't abandon Tommy either. She studies the chip, runs her thumb over its engraved surface. Then we help him together, your experience, my resources. No protocols. Some protocols. A ghost of a smile. But we'll adapt them, like everything else about us. Emma whimpers in her sleep. Without discussion, they move together to soothe her. Claire lifts her daughter, while Michael hums softly, a lullaby he used to sing to Sarah during her bad nights. You're good with her, Claire whispers. She makes it easy. Babies don't care about your past. They just know if you love them. And adults are harder. We carry our fears, our scars. He touches the chip in her hand, but sometimes we carry each other too. Later that night, after they've made plans for Tommy, after Emma's settled back to sleep, they stand at the balcony again. The city sparkles. Below, 1,000 lights like stars fallen to earth. Keep it, Michael says when Claire tries to return the chip. For when you need reminding. Reminding of what? That some promises don't break, that some people stay. She slips the chip into her pocket, reaches for his hand. Their fingers intertwine naturally now, months of shared purpose building trust, stronger than fear. In his journal that night, Michael writes, Sarah, you once told me rock bottom has a basement, but you never told me that sometimes, when you're busy helping someone else climb out of that basement, you find yourself rising too. Tonight I gave away my chip, but I gained something bigger. The trust of someone who knows how hard trust can be. The chip catches moonlight on Claire's bedside table, a small circle of brass that means nothing to most people. But to them, it's a promise, a testament, a bridge between past and future, as solid as the one they're building between their worlds. The resignation letter sits unsigned on Claire's desk, its crisp white paper stark against the mahogany. 2 paragraphs that could change everything. After 15 years of leading Hamilton Tech, I find my priorities have shifted. While I remain committed to our company's success, I believe fresh leadership will better serve our future growth. The board's ultimatum had been clear. Choose. The company or the foundation, the stability of their stock price or the man who saved her daughter, corporate interests or personal happiness. Through her office window, she can see the foundation's coffee shop across the street. Michael is there with Tommy, who's now 30 days clean. They're laughing about something, their breath fogging the cold glass. Her phone buzzes. Another message from the board chair. The papers are ready. Just need your signature. Emma plays in her office playpen, stacking blocks with fierce concentration. At 9 months old, she's already showing Claire's determination. The baby looks up, gives her mother that heart-melting smile that started everything. Miss Hamilton, her assistant peers in. The board is waiting. Claire stands, smooths her skirt, lifts Emma. Tell them I'll be there shortly. But instead of heading to the boardroom, she takes the elevator down, crosses the street, pushes, open the coffee shop door. The conversation stops as she enters. Michael takes one look at her face and knows. Tommy, watch Emma. Claire hands over her daughter, who goes happily to her friend's arms. Michael and I need to talk. They move to a quiet corner. Through the window, they can see Hamilton Tech's imposing headquarters looming over them. The board's forcing you out, Michael says. Not a question. They're giving me a choice. She places the resignation letter on the table. Step down voluntarily, keep my shares, my reputation, or stay and watch them dismantle everything we've built here. The foundation? First on their chopping block. Unnecessary liability, they call it. Michael's jaw tightens. So all their talk about corporate responsibility, about second chances, was fine until it affected the bottom line. She laughs bitterly. Until it became personal. Then make it business. His voice is quiet but intense. Show them the numbers, the success rates, the positive press. I have, but they see the tabloids, the speculation, the risk. She touches his hand. They see us. The weight of that us fills the space between them. 6 months of working together, of building, something neither of them expected, of finding trust in the ruins of their old lives. Then I'll step back, Michael says. The foundation's bigger than... Don't you dare! Claire's voice cracks. Don't you dare make my choice easier by walking away. Emma squeals with laughter. As Tommy plays peekaboo, through the window, a group of veterans enters the coffee shop. Program graduates now employed, rebuilding their lives. You know what Sarah would say about this? Michael pulls out his journal, finds a dog-eared page. She wrote, "Sometimes the biggest act of courage is choosing happiness over safety. Happiness over safety." Claire watches Emma remembering that day by the river. Like jumping in after a drowning baby. Like believing in second chances. In new beginnings. He meets her eyes. In us. The resignation letter sits between them, its words growing less certain by the moment. Claire thinks of her parents, of their dream for Hamilton Tech, thinks of Emma, of the world she wants her daughter to see. Her phone buzzes again. The board. Chair, time's up. Claire takes out a pen. Michael holds his breath. She writes on the resignation letter, but not her signature. Instead, in clear, firm letters, I choose both. Find a way to make it work, or I take this public. Every detail, every success story, every life changed. Your move. Michael reads the words, looks at her with something like awe. They'll fight back. Good thing I have a brave, homeless veteran on my side. She smiles, feels lighter than she has in weeks. Want to help me storm a corporate castle? Through the window, Hamilton Tech's shadow seems less imposing now. Emma waves from Tommy's arms and Claire sees their reflection in the glass. The CEO, the veteran, the baby, the foundation. Not separate choices, but parts of a whole. In his journal that night, Michael writes, Sarah, you were right about courage. Sometimes it looks like jumping into danger. Sometimes it looks like standing your ground. And sometimes it looks like a woman choosing love over fear, trust over safety, us over easy. The partnership agreement takes up the entire boardroom table, its pages spread out like a battle map. Lawyers hover at the edges while Claire and Michael sit side by side, facing down the board of directors. This is unprecedented, the board chair says, frowning at the document. Merging a tech company's charitable foundation with its core business operations is exactly what we should have done from the start, Claire interrupts. She stands, commanding the room with the authority that built her empire. Let me show you why. The presentation screen comes to life. Numbers, charts, human faces tell their story. Veteran employment rate, 92%. Customer satisfaction at the coffee shop, 96%. Positive press mentions up 300% since the foundation's launch. But here's the real game changer. She clicks to the next slide. A new app interface appears. Clean, intuitive, beautiful. Our veterans didn't just need jobs. They needed purpose. So they built this, a platform connecting veterans with emergency response teams, disaster relief, community service. Military precision meeting civilian needs. Michael takes over, his voice steady. Every graduate of our program becomes part of the network. Their skills, their training, their dedication, all available at a moment's notice. And Hamilton Tech owns the platform, Claire continues. The foundation isn't a liability. It's an asset. These men and women aren't charity cases. They're our next generation of innovators. The board members lean forward, interest sparking in their eyes. The partnership agreement between them takes on new meaning, not just a compromise, but a vision. The numbers work, the CFO admits, but the public perception is about to change. Michael nods to Claire's assistant, who distributes folders. Meet our first emergency response team, former special forces, combat medics, logistics experts, all foundation graduates, all ready to deploy wherever they're needed. And they're already heroes. Claire adds softly, just ask my daughter. The mood in the room shifts. Board members flip through the folders, murmuring among themselves. The partnership agreement, with its careful blend of business strategy and social impact, suddenly seems less radical. There's more, Michael says. He pulls out his journal, now worn from constant use. Every veteran who comes through our program has a story, a skill, a dream. We're not just giving them jobs. We're giving them back their mission. The board chair removes his glasses, polishes them thoughtfully. And the personal aspect of your partnership? Claire reaches for Michael's hand under the table. No hiding anymore. Is none of your concern, she says firmly. My private life is private. My leadership of this company speaks for itself, and if anyone has a problem with either, my offer to take this public still stands. Silence falls. The partnership agreement waits for signatures, its pages outlining a future, none of them imagined 6 months ago. Finally, the board chair picks up his pen. We'll need to restructure some operations. Set clear boundaries between foundation, activities and corporate interests. Already done. Claire slides over another document. Check page 12. As the signatures begin, Michael writes in his journal, Sarah, remember how you said every end is a beginning. Today we're writing a new chapter, not just for us, but for everyone who needs a second chance. Later, in the coffee shop, they celebrate, quietly. Emma plays with the veterans who drop by, her extended family now. Tommy serves drinks with steady hands and clear eyes. Through the window, Hamilton Tech's tower reflects the setting sun, no longer a barrier, but a bridge. Think it'll work? Michael asks, watching Claire sign the final partnership papers. She looks around the coffee shop, at the veterans finding purpose, at her daughter growing up surrounded by heroes, at the man who jumped into a river and changed everything. It already is working, she says, because we're not building a program or a platform, we're building a family. The partnership agreement, now complete, represents more than legal frameworks and business strategies. It's a testament to what happens when love meets courage, when trust overcomes fear, when two people from different worlds refuse to believe in boundaries. To new missions, Michael raises his coffee cup. To old souls, Claire touches her cup. To his, and between them, Emma reaches for both, bringing their hands together like she did that first day by the river, a tiny architect of destiny still building bridges. The wedding invitation is simple, elegant, and completely unlike what anyone would expect from a billionaire CEO's wedding. No gold leaf, no fancy calligraphy, just clean text on cream paper. Under the bridge, where destiny first brought us together, Michael Reeves and Claire Hamilton invite you to celebrate their love as they build their next bridge forward. The ceremony location raises eyebrows. Among Hamilton Tech's elite circles, but Claire stands firm. The riverside spot where Michael once slept, where a baby's cry changed everything, is being transformed. It's perfect, she tells her dubious wedding planner. We're not just celebrating our marriage, we're celebrating transformation. And transformation is everywhere. The Foundation's emergency response teams have made national headlines. Veterans in Hamilton Tech uniforms bringing military precision to disaster relief. The app platform is revolutionizing community service. The coffee shop has spawned a franchise, all veteran-operated. Michael stands at the construction site that will become their wedding venue. Workers, many of them Foundation graduates, are building an elegant permanent pavilion, a symbol of the Foundation's permanence. From sleeping under a bridge to getting married under one, Tommy jokes, now 6 months sober and managing 3 coffee shop locations. Talk about a full circle. But it's more than full circle. Emma, now walking and talking up a storm at 15 months, toddles between the workers in her tiny hard hat, supervising the construction. Everyone knows her, everyone watches out for her. She's the heart of their growing family. "Daddy," she calls, reaching for Michael. The word still catches in his throat sometimes. The official adoption papers only came through last month. He scoops her up, remembering that desperate dive into the river. How could he have known that saving her would save him too? Agnes arranges the flowers, insisting it's her wedding gift. The bouquets include roses from the garden where they first met, herbs from her soup kitchen, wildflowers from the riverside, their whole story in blooms. "Your sister would be proud," she tells Michael, straightening his tie at the rehearsal. "Both of your transformations." The media coverage is inevitable, but different now. No more scandal hunting. The headlines read, "Hamilton Tech's revolutionary. Veteran program sets new standard. From homeless to hope, the Foundation changing lives." A love story that transformed an industry. Claire reviews the final guest list. Veterans and CEOs, soup kitchen volunteers and tech billionaires, all coming together. Like their lives, like their love, it bridges worlds. Having second thoughts, Michael asks, finding her in her office late one night. "About marrying you?" "Never." She hands him Emma, who's fallen asleep clutching his old AA chip, her favorite toy now. "About having the press there? They'll come anyway, might as well control the story." "Our story." She touches the invitation on her desk. "Sometimes I still can't believe it." "Which part? The homeless vet and the billionaire?" "No." She kisses him softly. "The part where 2 broken people helped each other become whole again." The evening. Before the wedding, they gather at the coffee shop. Their family has grown. Tommy, Agnes, the veterans, the Foundation staff, even some board members who've become true believers. Michael writes in his journal one last time as a single man, "Sarah, tomorrow I marry the woman whose baby I saved, whose love saved me, whose trust helped me save others. You always said everything happens for a reason. The reason wasn't just love, it was transformation. Of me, of Claire, of hundreds of veterans finding their way home." The invitation sits in a frame on their wall, next to the newspaper clipping about the rescue, the partnership agreement, and Emma's first photo with both of them. A timeline of transformation, of bridges built and crossed. "Ready for tomorrow?" Claire asks as they tuck Emma into bed. Michael looks at their daughter, at the woman he loves, at the life they've built from the ruins of their old ones. "I've been ready since the river," he says. "Some transformations you just have to surrender to." Through their window, they can see the bridge where it all began, now lit up for tomorrow's ceremony. No longer a place of endings, but of beginnings, of transformations, of love that builds bridges across any divide. The family photo sits on Michael's desk at the Foundation headquarters. Claire in a casual sweater, Emma beaming at 2 years old, and Michael holding their newborn son David, named after Claire's father. Behind them stands the bridge where their story began, now transformed into the Foundation's landmark achievement, a community center that spans the water like hope made concrete. "Your father would have loved this," Claire says, joining him at his desk. She's just returned from a board meeting where the Foundation's success has silenced even their staunchest critics. Their emergency response teams are deployed nationwide. Their app platform has gone global. and their coffee shop chain employs over 300 veterans. Both our fathers would have, Michael replies, touching the photo. Emma runs in, followed by Tommy, who's now the foundation's head of operations. "Uncle Tommy!" she squeals, jumping into his arms. "Tell me the story again!" They all know which story she means. It's become legend now, told and retold at every foundation graduation ceremony. The tale of a homeless veteran who dove into a frozen river to save a baby, and in doing so, saved himself and hundreds of others. "Well," Tommy begins, settling into the office's worn leather chair, "it was a cold December morning." Michael and Claire exchange smiles. Through the window they can see veterans arriving for their shifts, greeting each other with the easy camaraderie of people who understand transformation. Some wear Hamilton Tech uniforms, others foundation gear, all carrying themselves with renewed purpose. The foundation's latest initiative sits on Michael's desk, a nationwide program to convert unused urban spaces into veteran-run community centers. Each one will have a coffee shop, emergency response team, and training facilities. Each one will be a bridge between worlds. "Ready for the graduation ceremony?" Claire asks. 50 veterans complete the program today, their largest class yet. Michael picks up his journal, no longer a refuge from the world, but a record of triumph. On its worn pages, beneath Sarah's last letter, he's written their story. Not just his and Claire's, but every veteran who's found their way back through the foundation. "Always ready," he says, lifting David while Claire takes Emma's hand. Together, they head to the ceremony space, the same spot where they exchanged wedding vows a year ago. As they walk, Emma chatters about her new brother, the Foundation's kids program she loves, her growing family of uncles and aunts who've graduated from homelessness to hope. At 2, she doesn't understand yet how close she came to drowning that day, or how saving her created ripples that would transform countless lives. But she understands love, understands family, understands that bridges aren't just for crossing water, they're for connecting hearts. The final entry in Michael's journal reads, "Sarah, you once told me that rock bottom has a basement, but you never told me that it also has an elevator up, if you're brave enough to trust, strong enough to love, and willing to believe that sometimes, just sometimes, fairy tales come true in the most unexpected ways." The family photo catches the sunlight as they leave the office. 4 souls connected by a moment of courage, bound together by love that builds bridges across any divide. Behind them, the bridge stands strong, no longer a place of endings, but of endless new beginnings.